This is Astrarre Transfer V0 Video Documentation, Episode 4. This one is fluid cells. So we're going to do fluid cell that can, it's basically an item that can store unlimited of a single fluid. So let's do that. Static fluid cell item extends. We're going to make it have a single stack size. New item settings. Okay. So this is the access API. This is the access. So that's like the registry kind of that is accessing this item. So first we have to check participants. If the access is this one. So fluid item is for items that have fluid inventories. That's simple as that. So the container, you can see this is a container type, replacing participant item key. Oh. Equals container. So the container is where you, for example, a bucket, whenever it's filled with water, it'll swap the empty bucket for a full bucket. Or, for example, if you're emptying a bucket, you would dump the empty bucket into some inventory. This is that inventory. Public static class fluid cell participant. Public final replacing participant ID context. Public final key dot object item key. So this is the current item stack that's in the slot with quotes. There's no concept of, well, there is slots, but not in this particular API right now. Okay, and now we want to implement participant fluid. Okay, so item key current. So this function, this statement here, it basically says get me like the current item stack in the slot, again with quotes. So if we're extracting, we want to make sure that there's actually fluid in there. Fluid registry. So we want to get, let's just serialize the ID of the fluid in the MBT for get tag. These are never null because we use the custom API abstraction and MBT abstraction. Fluid. So if fluid equals fluids dot empty. There we go. So as long as the fluid that's inside our thing is not empty, then we can insert. So we have to make a transaction here because if you think about it, for example, the bucket, right? You want to, if we were, say, emptying a bucket, we could only empty the bucket if the inventory can take the empty bucket. Like, for example, let's say the inventory is full. If we try to empty the bucket, well, there's nowhere to put the bucket. So we would fail. So transactions allow us to revert, quote unquote, so that we don't accidentally do that. So what we do is we want to see how much our insertable, this thing, can take of our fluid. First we have to find out how much fluid we have right now. Amount equals current tag get int amount. By default that returns 0. Inserted was insertable, insert action fluid amount Let's do amount minus and make this remainder. Remember, insert returns the amount actually inserted, not the remainder. So to compute the remainder, you subtract it from the initial amount. Okay. So then this is how much we have left. Item key. So this is what this stack new key is what the current the new item would be with the remainder amount of fluid. So let's say we inserted a bucket of fluid or something. I don't know, right? And we had one bucket. Well, then the new item would be empty, obviously. So remainder 0. If there's nothing left, if the insertable took everything, then we're going to replace it with the empty version of this item. So item key of, that's fluid cell item. Actually, let's register it now before I forget. Fluid cell item, right? All right. Else, the new key is current. We're gonna put int amount with the remainder. Nope. Instead of this, we're going to do current get tag builder. There we go. Okay. So this new key is the item we want to swap out. So this dot context replace action current 1. So there's one stack size. So I want to replace Okay, so if we are unable to replace it, then we need to abort the transaction. If you put, say, false in here, then the transaction will close at the exit of the try with resource. By default, it's true, so it will commit, but we don't want that. We want it to abort. All right, so you can see, I think we can do that. That'll be fine. So now we have to do insert code. So it's actually copy this bit. If fluid equals fluids.empty. Is there an isEmpty method? No. Okay. So fluid is empty. Then we can insert into it. So this is a defaulted registry. So by default, this returns this. Okay. So now we have to get what we have to make a transaction again. Action equals transaction create. Now we have to make sure that the inventory can actually take the filled version of our item. So I think we can just copy this, slap it here. Okay, and then if or fluid equals type. There we go. Int count equals this dot current get tag to get int amount plus quantity. That returns 0 by default. If I guess we'll just put quantity equals 0, return 0. This is optional. Technically, it doesn't really matter. Okay. And then let's do this. Count. So this is what the item with the new amount of fluid in it would look like. So we try to replace it, and if it fails, we return 0, else return quantity. We got it because there's no maximum amount. I guess we just go until we overflow. And that should be it. Let's return our thing. Fluid cell participant key. I think that's it. So now let's make the thing fill up. So on use on block. Okay. World. If it's on the server, then this is how we get it from players. So if you're, for example, if you're holding an item, this is how you'd get the fluid containing item in your hand. You would do, first we want to get the replacing participant. So remember we talked about the swapping functionality. So this would prioritize swapping the hand that was interacting. So participant equals player participant fabric participant. This is from inventory. Context player. Get hand prioritizing hand replacing participant. Context get hand. There you go. Wow, that formatting really fucked up. Whatever. So now we want to do fabric participants. Fluid item, right? So fluid item is stuff that's in the inventory. Get null direction participant, and then I guess item key of context get stack. I think I messed up the yeah. It actually passed the participant. Oh, you have to pass the count as well. And there you go. So then this should be participant fluid. This should be our fluid cell participant. I think let's call this fluid cell. And let's, I don't know, fill it with water, I guess. Transaction global. Fluids, water. And then to demonstrate a point, let's try to insert lava into it. This may be buggy. Let's test it out. So we're gonna first insert water, which should then make the item a water fluid cell. And then when we try to insert lava, this condition will fail. And then it'll insert nothing. So we should get 0. All right, we're in game. Let's give ourselves the fluid cell. Concern. All right, whatever. So if I right click it, we have 0. Okay, yeah, there we go, 0. As we saw. So I right click it again. You can see it says MBT1 tag. So that's the water, I'm assuming. Let's test that. Data get entity and type equals item. limits. Tag amount 600. I guess I forgot to put the exact fluid, but that's basically it. The next episode, we'll probably do a block.